Welcome in everyone to another episode of Open Mic. Really excited to have you guys on this. Really excited to have you guys watching this show. We've got a great one in store for you. I talked to our first professional athlete. That was really fun. Kayla Jones. She's a professional golfer. She's played in Australia. She's played here in the States. So we talked about a whole lot of things. So really excited for you guys to listen to that. It's an absolute ton of fun. The other thing that I wanted to cover in really the purpose of this opening segment and why I do it every week is to document and just get down some thoughts of what we're learning throughout the process. We're not in the business of advice or telling anyone how it's supposed to be done. We're in the business of just saying what we're learning, and if you can get something from that, that's wonderful. And the thing I wanted to talk about with this opening segment, whatever you want to call it, is something that's really felt especially, present, whatever, this week. And that's the process of going from being bad at your craft to being good at your craft, and what we're learning along the path of getting there. And, maybe even a couple of ideas of how to get there, and things that we've learned with that. So yeah, I think, whether it's in a creative role, in a business role, in any kind of role, obviously when you start, the expectations we have for ourselves, our taste for what is good work and what looks like good work, is incredibly high. But, the work we're doing, the work you're doing, at least at the start, is, not incredibly well done. It's not at the level of your taste, and getting there is a tough process. And, I think there's a great NPR clip about, taste with Ira Glass and This American Life. And I highly encourage you guys to go look it up, because a lot of what is said in that is something that I've applied to my personal life and into my business life and to any of the work I've done. And really what it boils down to is, if you want to get good at anything, you have to be profuse with whatever you do. So if you want to get good at writing, back when I was a copywriter, we had a professor who taught copywriting, and it was, a really fun, creative class. But his big thing was, if you want to be a good copywriter, you have to write a lot. You have to write 100 headlines, 50 different versions of body text for an ad, and just keep writing and writing and writing, because it trains your brain at least to get past the censoring of ideas and thinking this is a good idea, this is a bad idea. It allows you just to focus on putting stuff down on the paper and really go from there. And if you just keep doing that repetitively, after a while you become good at writing. And that really is the case. I think back to an internship I had as a copywriter, and literally took a whole afternoon and wrote 100 headlines for a little web banner. So something very insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but still, important to what we were doing. And I ended up, I think, using headline number 30, headline number 50, and headline number 99. So you're looking at, the first 29 of those guys I didn't even touch, which, personally, I think I thought were, some of the good ones, but in reality, they really weren't, because I was still censoring and filtering and getting all that crap out of my head of all the bad ideas. And then once you're able to do that, you then reach the good ideas. And I think that's true for really anything. If you want to get good at, starting a business, at entrepreneurship, you don't necessarily need to start a lot of businesses, but you need to start, and you need to be profuse in your actions. You need to be doing a lot of things and learning a lot of different things. And if you're someone who's a little more creative, you have to just start putting stuff together, whether it's video or visual or anything of that nature. You have to just start doing it, and you have to do a lot of it, because it really, at the end of the day, it comes down to repetitions, and it comes down to putting in a high volume of work, with the fact, with the mind that a lot of it is going to be, it's not going to be good. It's going to be crap. It's not going to be usable. But by doing that process, you're improving slightly. You're getting better. You are working on your craft in a way that someone who is just, doing, something, for a full week and really making sure it's perfect, just work really, really fast, and you're able to get over that hump a lot quicker. Whereas the person who is doing stuff, very meticulously, very, perfection oriented every week, isn't gaining a lot of experience and they're not getting better. You have to be profuse in your work to get better. And that's something that this week I feel like I learned a lot because, just started, promoting the podcast on Twitter, TikTok, really any social media platform. And I think the one thing I still constantly have to snap myself out of is being very perfectionist, very perfection oriented with the stuff I'm posting and really kind of being focused on volume and focused on being very profuse with what I'm putting out, whether that's, stuff on Instagram, stuff on TikTok, stuff on Twitter. And that was something that, this week, just have thought of a ton and really allowed me to look back and think that, and at the end of the day, you're not going to remember, the first 50 bad iterations of what you did. And you're not playing for that. You're playing for, the next 50. It's the same thing with this podcast. With this episode, yes, I want it to be great. Yes, I want it to be awesome. But at the end of the day, it's more reps and it allows you to get better. And that's truly the only way to do it. It's time, it's reps, and it's being profuse with everything that you're doing. And like I said, that's something that especially this week, was just thinking about. And even with Top Form, it's, we're not putting out a lot of stuff on social, but we are, putting out devices and we are giving them out to people to beta test and to try. And the only way that we can ever understand if we're going to be useful or not is by putting, a lot of content out. I look back, on kind of a different end of it with Anchor. And when I was first running the social media account, I look back at those posts and I'm like, they were posts that I liked, but they're nowhere near the quality level that the stuff we're putting out today is, and that's okay, and that's, it's to be expected with anything. The, first 10, first 15, first 20, maybe even the first 50 aren't going to be good. They're going to be maybe marginally better with each one, but they're not going to be anywhere close to how good the next 50 are, or the next 50 after that, or even the next 100. And that's why it's important to be profuse with your work and to put out a lot of stuff, because that really is the only way to get better. It's more reps, it's doing things more, and it's, I think, on the mental side of things, it's, orienting your brain to be more forgiving, be a little less self-censoring, and to just allow your mind to work freely, so that you're just putting out a lot of stuff and getting over that perfectionist, quality barrier, whatever you want to call it, because once you make that mental shift, things, they do start to, move a little bit easier. You start to put out more stuff and you start to get better. So yeah, that was just something that, this week especially was thinking about. And, with Homecoming, we're really trying to put out stuff every single day, because even though we have a small following now, the process of us putting stuff out is going to allow us to be set up for when, we do have a larger following. We're going to have gotten better. We're going to improve. And those first 40, 50 posts, they're not going to matter. They're just not going to matter because, you've put in the work, you've put in the time, and now you have stuff that, is really well. And that's something that is talked about in that clip with Ira Glass, and I think it's This American Life, is that you have to put out a lot of stuff because our taste is right here. We love, we have an idea of what things are like in our head, and we want our stuff and we need it to be like that, and we love for it to be like that. But if our taste is up here, our ability to execute on that is down here. And the only way to move up is to put out a lot of stuff and to just be incredibly high volume and a little bit less self-censoring. And so we'll definitely link that video down in the comments on this on YouTube. So feel free to check it out. It's, if you're anyone in the creative business, the creative industry, or just any industry in general, it's an important thing, I think, to keep in mind. And especially, I feel like since a decent amount of listeners they're like me, or just starting out, and we want to be really desperately good at something. And we want to be performing at a level of, someone who's been in the industry for a long time. But, it takes time to get there. It takes reps to get there. And the minute you can free your mind from some of that and free your mind from, kind of the, trap of perfection, really whatever you want to call it, the, self-censoring, the sooner you are going to be at getting better. And it's no different in sports. It's no different in any aspect. On the driving range, I'm getting better every 100 balls, and that the first 100 that I hit were not great, and the next 100 are a little bit better, and so on and so forth. So it's at the end of the day, if you can have a big takeaway out of all of this, it's be profuse in your work, do a lot of it, post a lot, take a lot of if you're a golfer, shoot a lot of shots, or hit a lot of shots. If you're a basketball player, shoot a lot of shots. If you're someone who's creative, write and do stuff every single day. And if you're, in any other industry, just keep practicing your craft. Be profuse with the amount of practice you do, and one day you'll look back and you'll find yourself pretty damn good at what you're doing. So with that, I'll end that part. We'll get to our interview with Kayla. Really excited, like I said, to have you guys listen to that. Going to be a ton of fun. And let's go to the interview.
Well, here we go. Let's get started. So now I want to welcome in. She's a professional golfer. She is a low-key Ben and Jerry's fan. Shout out
High
to Ben and
key,
Jerry's.
probably.
High-key Ben and Jerry's fan. And a Florida State Seminole. Kayla Jones, thank you for coming on Open Mic.
Hey, what's up? I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you here. And I got to say, you're the first professional athlete to be on the show. So how does that feel?
Super exciting. I'm not super experienced in the podcast world yet, so I'm still learning the ropes. But I'm
That's
happy
okay.
to
But
be here.
you did a podcast this week, though, right?
Yes, I did. That was my first one, really. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So got the rust is off. You're feeling good. I mean, right? That's how it is.
Right. I tested it out.
Okay.
Now I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you here. And I want to just start at the beginning. So why golf? I mean, I'm fascinated. You're a kid. You could play any sport on the planet. What led you to golf?
Oh, yeah. See, that's so random. Like, why would I pick golf, honestly? My dad, when I was born, I guess he got the golf itch,
Gotcha.
right around the same time, as
Hmm.
happens to a lot of a lot of guys, a lot of dads out there. Um, so I guess his version of babysitting was putting me in the stroller and having me sit on the driving range, and
Okay.
I did that for a while. And when I was 4, I believe, I
Yeah.
guess I just wanted to try it, and he would give me his club, and I would just kind of like whack balls on the driving range. But it didn't take very long for me to get into it. I was probably like fully into golf by the time I was 7. And then I started playing tournaments when I was 11 years old, I believe was my first
Gotcha.
one. Um, yeah, and then just went from there.
Just went from there. And
Hmm.
then at what point were you, I mean, so set in stone, you're like, this is going to be the sport? Is there a moment where you said to yourself, like, this is the one I'm going for. We're all in on this sport. Was there any moment like that for you?
It was probably pretty young. I remember my dad always would tell my mom that I needed to get a golf scholarship because there aren't enough girls playing golf, and that would be
Gotcha.
the best bet for me. So yeah, I heard that a lot growing up, and I think pretty early on I decided. It was before high school, obviously, because I got really serious in high school about it. So
Hmm.
yeah, I must have been somewhere in middle school where I was like, I know that I'll be playing college golf, and who knows what after that.
Who knows? Okay, so we're moving a little quick through this because there's a lot of other stuff we have to cover. But with you started playing in New York, right? I mean, New
Yes.
York City.
Hmm.
I mean, no, I'm not an urban planner myself, but I don't think there's a ton of golf courses in New York City. So, I mean, what's that like? I mean, you're playing in New York City. What does the golf scene look like? How are you practicing? How does that all work?
Right. So the golf scene, honestly, I think it's something that I've carried with me throughout my life. I live in Georgia now, so it's completely different. I mean, there's
Yeah,
country clubs and all that all over the place. But yeah, in New York growing up, I learned to play golf on a little 9-hole track. I think it was like a par 32. And
okay,
I mean, they were like, the tee boxes were like mats. It was not your premier golf course at all. But yeah, it was right smack in the middle of the Bronx. Sometimes we would take the train there, like we would get on the train with our golf clubs. So I
cool.
did that. And then obviously the weather wasn't great for golf in New York either. So whenever it was snowing, we would go over to Chelsea Piers. If you've seen
Hmm.
it like in movies
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah.
yeah, we'd hit on that driving range all the time. So that's kind of where I got into it. And then um, as I grew up and my dad realized that I was getting more serious about it, he ended up taking a caddying job at a really nice country club up in Westchester.
Gotcha.
And he would caddy there during the week, and then I would get to go play sometimes, and that was pretty cool. And I'm thankful that he sacrificed that and did that little extra job for me.
Nice. Do you feel like, kind of like you said, hitting on mats for tee boxes, and playing in not ideal weather conditions? Do you feel like that, looking back, helped your game at all, or is there any part of that where you're like, I think I'm a little bit better at this because of that?
I think it definitely made me a lot better able to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I probably would say I could have used a really good practice facility or something to kind of grind and get my train on. But I made do with what I had, and I think it served me well as a person, just in general.
Yeah, that's so cool. So you're growing up in the Bronx, you're playing a lot of golf, and then you decide to play at an incredibly high level, Division I, ACC, Florida State. Take me through that. What's that recruiting
Oh
process
no,
like?
baby!
Because you're the first professional athlete on the show, the first Division I athlete really on the show, the first high level. I had my dad on as the first guest, so I don't know if you count that. But what's that like? That's because you're not messing around there when you're going to play golf at schools like that.
Yeah. Man, I don't even know where I started. I was a really shy kid, and
Mm-hmm.
it kind of started out with cold calling a lot of coaches, and I would just call coaches and pray for their voicemail so I didn't have to talk to them, and I would send emails and whatever, swing videos, like my tournaments for the summer, how I did, and then just kind of roll with who responded to me.
Yeah.
So that was interesting because I kind of started reaching out pretty young. I think maybe my freshman year of high school.
Wow.
Yeah, and then by the time it got more serious, I guess my junior year, I started going on visits, and my first visit ever was Florida State, and I knew immediately that that's where I wanted to be.
Okay.
Really had no idea why. I just walked up on campus, and I was like, "This is it." And then I told the coach that probably like 20 minutes into my visit. I bet she thought I was crazy, but yeah, she was like, "I think you need to look around and make sure that you're sure, but we would love to have you." And I was like, "Okay." So I went on 5 or 6 other visits, and I came back to Florida State for a basketball game. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
FSU UNC one year, and
Nice.
I told her again. I was like, "No,
Yeah.
I promise this is it." So yeah, I committed shortly after that. Yeah,
Very cool.
the rest is history.
And the rest is history. So, you get on campus as a freshman. How did you see your game evolve from your freshman year all the way to your senior year? When you stayed with us, we talked about that a little. How you improved your game, just a ton from that first year on. But
Mm-hmm.
take us into that. What was that like? What was the practice like? What parts of your game did you improve? Walk us
That
through that
was
evolution.
Yeah, that was super interesting. It was the first time in my life I really had like a routine. I'm not very much a planning type of person.
Gotcha.
I kind of just rolled with it my whole life. So getting onto campus, it was a huge adjustment, just having to be somewhere every single day at a certain time, 15 minutes before, because if you're there on time, you're late. But yeah, we had practice every single day. We had workouts every single morning. I think they were at 5:30 a.m. if I'm
Wow.
remembering correctly. So that was crazy. Parts of my game that evolved. So I didn't know how to chip, and I didn't know that I didn't know how to chip until
Okay.
college. So my wedges were just absolutely horrible. I think I came in on the team, and we would do a lot of work on TrackMan. You
Gotcha.
know all about the TrackMan,
Oh
best
yeah.
device. And we would play these games and do combines, and my scores were just the absolute worst on the team out of everybody on the men's
Mhm.
and women's side. Um, so that was a surprise to me because I didn't know I was that bad at wedges. But anyways, I started doing extra practices and kind of working with one of our assistant coaches, and I would go
Mhm.
pretty early in the morning, and we do like a 2.5 hour practice. We had like our set routine. It was just one-on-one, me and him. And by the end of my college career, I believe I set the record on that TrackMan game. So
Okay.
that was a huge improvement. It
Yeah.
did wonders for my golf game.
Wow. Okay, that's a massive leap because you're setting a record on the game. Like that is. Are you still the record holder?
I think so. I might be.
Okay,
I don't know.
so
It was posted on the locker room door for a while. I would have
yeah.
to go back and see if it's there. But yeah, it's funny because like at first, when I first got there, they would post everybody's scores, and I remember
Mhm.
mine not even being up there. They were so bad.
Oh no. But
I
now you're at the top.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Big fan of
That is
TrackMan.
incredible.
Big fan of wedge practices. Now it's like my favorite thing to do. I
Hmm.
did a lot of over the winter practicing on a football field. So I would just
Yeah.
kind of get like alignment sticks or towels or something and lay them out all down the football field and hit my wedges to get more spot on with my distances.
Would any like I mean, are you talking like the football field as in like the one you see on like game day, like that football field?
Oh, I didn't dare go on there. I would just find
Okay,
a
I
local
was
park. I
I
probably
didn't
would have
know if you
ended
were
up
hitting
on the news
wedges.
somewhere.
And I was like, I didn't know if you're hitting wedges, and then all of a sudden you got, quarterbacks and football players coming out like, I don't know about that. But that's
uh,
hey, still cool. Still
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it was fun.
Nice. So, I mean, you're playing in college. Is there any moment you look back on where you're like, that was, one of my best events in college, or that what moment, playing over those 4 years matters the most to you? I shouldn't even say, it, just matters the most and is the one you look back on, fondly.
So the one I guess that was the biggest moment for me was my first event actually.
Okay.
I qualified for the first event. It was my first week as a freshman, and I don't even think I stopped crying from missing my parents yet. Like I was such a baby,
Oh no.
and had to get on a plane and go out to Texas the first week of school. Didn't know what was going on in my classes. I was just an absolute mess, and I was so nervous to play my first college tournament. And I just remember just praying that I made contact with the ball on the first tee.
Hmm.
Um, but I ended up birdieing the first three holes of that event, and I was
Wow.
leading it. So um,
Oh,
3 holes in, I'm more nervous than ever because I was already nervous just to be playing in my first college event to begin with. Next thing I know, I'm playing like the best golf that I ever have. And
yeah.
I called one of our assistant coaches over and I was like, hey, I'm just playing really good. And he was like, okay, so what's the problem? I was like, I need somebody to calm me down. I'm so scared. And so the next hole, he walks with me. I make a bogey. And he's like, okay, you feel better now? And I'm like, yeah, I think I do feel a little bit better. And he walked
Yeah.
off. I don't even think I saw him for the rest of the tournament, but I ended up winning that golf tournament, my first college event ever.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So so what's that like? I mean, like you said, you're week one on campus. You're now 1 for 1 in a tournament. What are you just like gliding across campus like until the next? I mean, that's a heck of a way to get started. I mean, it
I
really
mean,
is.
you would think that I'd just be on top of the world, but not at all. I think it was a good thing because I saw what my ability was. So I could
Hmm.
kind of see the potential was there and that I could have a really good college career, but that also scared the crap out of me. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure I was ready to deal with all that as a college
Yeah.
freshman, but I mean, I did, and I had a decent season otherwise. So I mean, I didn't win
That's
any other events, but
But hey, you won the. I gotta say, I think there's a lot of college freshmen who you get on campus, and it's like I'm just trying to figure out where the class where biology 101 is. Let alone I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna go win a big time tournament like that. I mean,
exactly.
that's no small task.
I really did have biology my
Oh,
first class
actually,
ever my freshman year, and I was about 50 minutes late to this hour and a half class
wow. And
because I couldn't
was it
find a
because of
parking
golf?
spot. I didn't know where it
Uh,
was. I was just a mess.
that's. I think we've all had that. I definitely had that a couple times at like Mizzou. I remember there was one. I'm sitting in the student center and I like had written down the wrong time for the final. So like I
Oh
look up at
no.
my watch and it's like I'm like, oh, it's at 3:45, and then I like check and it's like, oh no, it's at like 2:50. So and it's like 2:45 at this point. So I like take my bag. I'm bolting down the like out of the student center as like a freshman, backpack like full of textbooks, and I am like screaming across
And
campus into this
everybody just
final.
knows what's going on.
And everyone knows what's going on. And I'm like, I did not want to have this moment my freshman year, but here we are. And then I like walk in like as he's passing out Scantrons in this big lecture hall. And
Well, at
then
least
like I
you
just
made
like
it.
I mean I made it, but it was one of those things where I just was like, That was incredibly stupid. But
Yeah.
hey, it's it,
Yeah. I
it's
had a
all
lot of
fun.
tears the freshman year, but
But hey, I mean, one for one in an event. I mean, that's incredible on its own. So
thanks.
you so you keep playing, and then take us inside the moment when you decide to go pro. I mean, what's that like? Because it's not definitely not a small decision. So was it something where you were thinking about it, from the beginning, like from the moment you stepped on campus or even before that? Or was it like kind of an evolving thing where you got to a certain point, you're like, okay, now I feel ready?
hmm Um, it was always in the back of my mind, but I really never thought I would do it, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, it was there. I knew that I was capable of it since I was little. It sounded like a cool idea. I think there was one talk I had with our men's coach at FSU, and he kind of
Hmm.
tried to talk me into it, and I was like, yeah, 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 whatever, coach. And so I ended up finishing my college career completely. I had taken the GMAT. I applied to grad school, and I was going to stay at Florida State for another year and a half.
Nice.
I literally had my schedule ready and everything, and I just didn't show up for orientation that
Cool.
summer. I was like, I don't think I'm ready for this. I didn't feel right about quitting golf.
Hmm.
Not that I necessarily had to quit, but it was going to take a lot for me to be in school another year. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I just didn't show up to school, and I went out to Q school in California instead, and I turned pro. It was that quick.
Wow.
Yeah,
That just like that.
yeah. I
That's
think
incredible.
I didn't realize how badly I wanted to do it until I was so close to not doing it.
Yeah.
Like once I had stopped practicing, like I was a golfer, and kind of just focusing on my future, I was like, this isn't my future, I don't think.
Hmm. That's really
Mhm.
cool. So now you're out at Q school. I mean, you haven't shown up to orientation. Now you're out at Q school. I mean, was there a moment where you were kind of like, oh shit, like you're like kind of your oh shit, like we're in the big leagues moment, or
Oh
was
yeah, it
it?
was an immediate oh shit reaction. I That's something that people know that they're doing for a long time, and they train for it and they get ready for it,
Yeah.
and I did not do that. Um, I think my biggest downfall was not that I wasn't prepared for it. It's just that I thought I wasn't prepared for it. Which I probably wasn't prepared for it anyway because I wasn't practicing like I needed to. But yeah, that was a scary one. I will have to say. I learned a lot from it. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know, like going back, would I do it the same way again? Maybe not, because it
Yeah.
was a $5,000 mistake, but it got my foot in the door in the golf world. So I mean, I can play. That's what I got out of
You
that.
can play. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm I, as from staying at our house when you played, we're a big golf family. So I mean, you get out of Q school. What's that like? I know you played in Australia a little bit. When does that happen? What happens kind of the after the Q school stuff, or do you just hit the road and do you start playing and training full time?
Yeah. So Q school, it's pretty much takes your entire fall. And I was playing a couple of other events here and there, but by the time the winter came around, I knew that I wanted to start getting competitive to play the spring season, which is what I went to Q school for. So that was another just like spur of the moment decision. I just called up my parents. I literally woke up one morning and I was like, I think I'm gonna go to Australia, and I did it. I had my flight booked like the next day,
Wow.
and I went out to Australian Q school, which is a completely different situation. But yeah, I played out there. I think I was there for 9 weeks. I was 9 weeks on the road, um,
Wow.
playing events out there. Yeah, it was so much fun. I loved every
Not
second.
so. I mean, 9 weeks on the road in Australia. I got it. Are there any stories? I mean, what's that like? I mean, just traveling Australia and playing pro golf. I mean, that sounds like. I mean, I feel like you could do a whole series of podcasts about that kind of stuff. That's awesome.
Right. It was super cool. Man, I don't even know where to start. Just getting to Australia is surreal because you take off on like a Tuesday, and then you
Yeah.
land on Thursday, and there's the Wednesday never happens. So that's really interesting. So that was just like, to put it in perspective, how far from home I was. I think the first night I got there, I cried. I was just like, what am I doing here?
Hmm.
And then kind of settled in and had the best time of my life. We did a lot of traveling. So the beginning of that season in Australia, I wasn't playing very good golf. So there were a lot of missed cuts and a lot of days off.
Yeah.
Which I can't say that I regret all that much, because
Yeah.
I got to see a lot of Australia. We would take weekend trips and stuff, and we took a trip to Sydney, Byron Bay. We didn't even have events in any of those places, but we kind of just messed around
Hmm.
and got to go see the world. I've ended up playing good golf by the end of it, so
Good. Good.
that was good. Made a couple cuts, made a couple dollars. That was nice, but
Nice.
yeah, the whole thing was just awesome. I think there was one event that actually we had to qualify for out
Hmm.
there, and I ended up not making the qualifier. And there was like a month-long music festival in Adelaide, Australia. So we were just
Okay.
there every night. I mean, I didn't miss the tournament a whole lot.
That's incredible. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that is just absolutely unreal. Like yeah. I mean, I have no words for it. Clearly, you've shocked me on my own podcast with that. I can't even wrap my head around touring Australia for a month. Was there any spot that was your absolute favorite?
Yeah, I loved Byron Bay,
Okay.
little surf town in Gold Coast. That was an awesome place. Um, I don't know. Sydney really took my heart, though. I
Yeah.
loved Sydney. I mean, it was exactly like I had pictured it in Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
It was perfect, and I had so much fun out there.
That's awesome. That is so cool. So then you come back. Once you're wrapped up there, do you come back to the US, right?
Yeah, I came back to the US. I actually didn't come home for a while. I think I was gone
Okay.
for like 3 more weeks. I flew back to California and I played a couple things there, and then I went to
Hmm.
Phoenix. Um, Finally came home and had to deal with the fact that I was no longer in Australia. So that was kind of sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I jumped right into playing again. But
Hmm.
I was dealing with an injury for most of that time. So that was a struggle of the season. I mean, it's kind of funny
Yeah.
because I went out to Australia to try to prepare for the season, and then I came home and I could hardly play. So
Hmm.
that was tough, but yeah.
But so, I mean, take us into that. How do you, I mean, you've come back from Australia. How do you train with even kind of a lingering injury? I mean, I mean, I feel like at a certain point, it's just a mental game too. I mean, right? Because you're just
Yeah,
trying to take a lot of mental reps.
absolutely. That might have been the biggest thing that I've gone through in my life mentally. The initial shock of it, there was a point where I mean, I tried to play through it for so long and it was just getting worse and worse. And there was a point where I just really had to stop.
Hmm.
And that initial feeling was just like, oh my gosh, who am I? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to exist without golf. I mean, I'm obsessed with it. So that was kind of crazy, trying to find other things to like almost rebuild my identity in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was doing like random stuff. I started taking like dance classes and whatnot. But yeah, then getting back into like the rehab and the training thing eventually was really hard. I feel like I would kind of take a step and
Hmm.
feel like I was getting stronger, and then the next day I'd just be in so much pain and kind of have to take another step back. And that went on for a while, maybe like 6 months, um,
Wow.
to the point where I mean, I slowly built everything up. I started with putting, and then I would kind of do some physical therapy things, and then I would get more aggressive in the gym, do some chipping, finally hitting balls, and playing again. And by then, I felt pretty confident.
Yeah.
I just had to trust that it wasn't going to hurt anymore, which was
Hmm.
crazy because you can almost make it hurt with your mind.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's incredible. So what is it like then? You mean that first swing, you're feeling great. I mean, it's got to feel awesome, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, that was the
Yeah.
best feeling ever. It kind of came slowly. I was pretty timid with it at first, and then
Hmm.
built it up. But I mean, now I feel 100%. I'll hit balls all day. I shouldn't, but I try not to. But I mean, I feel good enough to.
Nice. So you're kind of touring around the U.S. as much as one can in a pandemic.
Hmm.
Uh, any favorite spots? while you've kind of been going across. And hey, you don't have to say Colorado. That isn't like a leading question to tee you up to say that.
That's really
But
funny because I was gonna say Colorado, and I mean
oh
it.
my
That
gosh.
was my favorite spot before I met you guys, actually, believe it
Okay.
or not. Yeah, I love that event. The Colorado Open, fantastic. It's very well run. It was very weird playing it in a pandemic this year. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, love that golf course, Green Valley Ranch. Love Denver. I have no complaints about it. Weather was
We
awesome.
yeah. We appreciate it. We appreciate that. Is there any spot where you see it on the calendar and you're like, I have to go there? Like, is there a least favorite spot?
um, Believe it or not, I don't like playing in Florida very much, which
Okay.
is funny because I went to school in Florida, but it's humid and sticky and my
Hmm.
hands sweat a lot, and I don't think
Yep.
the golf course is set up that great for me. So Florida is I don't love it, but I'll do it anyway. I mean, I get a
Oh,
beach trip
hey,
out of it, so
that's why you're a pro, and that's why other people are not pros, because you'll go tough it out in Florida. Whereas if it was me, I'd be like, you know what, not packing the clubs this round. We're good. We don't need the clubs today. Um, okay, so take us inside a little bit of kind of your routine. Whether it's on the driving range before a tournament, is there anything that you have to be doing, or you have to do in order to like feel like you're ready? It can be superstitions. It can be really anything. Is there one or two things that you have to do before you start playing or before you start practicing?
man, I don't know if I have any superstitions. I'm not a really superstitious person, so I guess that's a good thing. Um,
Yeah,
I do this. This might get like pretty technical, I guess, but I
that's
I
okay.
do what I call calibrating before I play and before I practice, really. Um,
Yeah.
where I kind of go through like a series of warm up things to like make sure I'm set up correctly, make sure I'm
Hmm.
aimed correctly, make sure like I'm just feeling good. Um, for me, it's like using a putting mirror to start, or like trying to put the ball between like a gate between two tees. Um, just kind of like something to feel like I can repeat it over and over again. And that way I feel like when I get out on the golf course, I can hit any shot because I have a good
Yeah.
base, if that makes any sense. So
No, that
that's
totally
that's
makes
my thing.
sense.
I do it every time, every day. So yeah.
That's cool. We've had your like I think in four guests we've had three golfers. So I don't know if this is going to become a golf podcast eventually. It may just end up being that. So
It's
it's
gonna
stuff
morph.
like that. It'll just kind of morph because we've had three of our four. I had a swimmer as guest number three. And now we've had three out of four golfers. So this could just be a golf podcast. So something like that, super useful to everyone.
Well, I hope people
Um,
can use it. I definitely would recommend it to everybody. It's huge for my confidence.
yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm ready, like a trigger thing. I'm like, okay, did that. That's out of the way. Now let's go play.
Nice. So we'll wrap up here in a bit, but I have a few more questions. We're going to wrap up with. We're still kind of trying to name the segment. It's like I ask five kind of random questions, so we'll wrap up with that. We got a few more. Um, what's your favorite memory of being a pro so far? Do you have one in particular, like whether it's a round or a shot? What's your favorite memory?
Probably getting my first check. Is that is that bad
That
to say?
counts. No,
I,
that counts.
yeah, I earned my first check at the Florida Open, and I was like, oh my gosh, I get to get paid to do this. That was
Yeah.
my favorite memory. I guess that has kind of worn off a little bit.
Hmm.
I've gotten a little bit more grouchy about what my paycheck is, but that moment was pretty cool because I was just happy to make money.
Did it feel pretty cool going to the bank too with that check just ready to cash it?
I
'Cause
think I just scanned it off my phone, which was I probably should have gone to the bank, make it a little more meaningful, but
I know I was gonna say, I'm like, I don't know if you can mobile scan that. You have to. I'd be taking that, slap it right down to the
oh
teller, and be
yeah,
like,
I
"We're
mobile scan
cashing this."
everything. And tell them how I earned it too.
Tell them, "Hey, that's good. It's good. That's." I would say getting my first check would 100% be my favorite memory as a pro golfer because, like you said, now you're getting paid to do what you love, and
Yeah,
you're getting like it's not like in range tokens or pro shop credit. Like it's cold hard cash.
I know. I bought so many FootJoy socks with Pro Shop money. This was real. I could spend it on whatever I wanted. I'm sure it went straight to Amazon Prime.
So I never got a chance to ask this actually while you're here, but are you sponsored?
I am somewhat, yeah. So I have equipment sponsors. My equipment sponsor
Cool.
is Ping.
Cool.
Yeah, I guess it depends how you look at the word sponsor, which is why I didn't really know how to answer that. And then I have a corporate sponsor, Southern Heights Investments. They help me with a bunch of my
Nice.
travel. They're fantastic. And I'm not really signed with anybody else, actually. It's kind of just whatever people can do for me. That's been pretty
Yeah.
cool. I've had companies give me stuff, or just like the random nice person write me a check. So that's been really awesome. Uh, but yeah, hey, if there's anybody out there who's looking to sponsor a professional golfer, hit me up.
We'll make sure for sure to post that clip on Instagram, and we'll get it out for everyone to see.
Exactly.
Um, if you ever need a podcast sponsor, you know where to find us. Well, I don't really have anything to offer other than airtime. But if you ever need a podcast sponsor,
Love it.
we can get the little microphone that we have on the side of your visor.
Perfect.
And it'll be the most confusing thing to everyone out on the course, but it'll be good. It'll be good.
I'm
Um,
excited.
so I'm trying to. I mean, we've covered a lot of ground. I mean, is there? I mean, what else do you do outside of golf when you're not, training? You're not golfing. Yeah, you mentioned dance as something that you do.
Yeah.
Or as what are you doing outside of golf when you're not on the course?
So um, well, I'm pretty into fitness, but I absolutely hate cardio with everything in me. So that's where the dance classes came in. I started taking hip hop classes because I thought it would be a good workout. And then I
Totally.
realized that I really want to be a good dancer. So that's my thing. I was taking like 3 hip hop classes a week, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Great workout. And I mean, I don't really know if I got better at dancing. I hope I did, but maybe someday if I keep up with it.
Yeah.
That's what I do for sure. Um, I don't know what else. I always try to find the craft brewery in any city that I'm in
Nice.
for a golf tournament. That's
That's
a
that.
thing.
We can for sure count that as a hobby. That is without a doubt
Yeah,
an
craft
outside of
beer
golf
is my
hobby.
hobby. I don't
That's
actually know
good.
anything about craft beer, but I mean it's fun and it tastes good. So
They're fun places to hang out. Normally, there's like some kind of a food spread there.
yeah,
Shoot, that's
live music,
I would
whatever.
consider live music. I'd consider that a hobby of mine. I guess now,
Yeah.
if that was the case. So with the hip hop, did you actually find that helped your golf at all, or was it just did it like help with any kind of footwork or stuff, or was it? I mean, just totally not helping at all. Period. End of story.
I don't know that it helped a lot physically. I I will say I got in a lot better shape
Hmm.
because I mean those classes can be pretty long and you're just dancing for the whole entire time and it's a lot harder than you think it is. But if anything, just trying something new. I would recommend it to anybody. Just like putting yourself out of your
Yeah.
comfort zone because that was big for me. I mean, I feel like if I can get up my teacher does this thing at the end of class where we have to go in groups of 3 and then everybody watches, and I'm by far the worst dancer in the whole class, but I still had to do it. And I felt like, you know what, if I could do this, I can make a 3-footer to win the US Open. I know I can. So yeah,
Hey, they're
that's
very
kind of my
similar
mindset
situation.
with it.
No, that's good though, because I feel like if you can get out in front of people and like actually dance, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of like pressure packed situations that you couldn't handle. Because
Right.
now yeah. Do you have a go to hip hop song? Like if you're gonna go out and hip hop dance like tomorrow, like is there one song that you're building the whole dance around?
Oh my gosh. Um, for a while, it was "Money in the Grave" by Drake.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That was my jam, and I would dance to that any second of the day. Lately, I just downloaded TikTok, so I've been kind of obsessed with the Savage remix with
Yep.
Beyonce.
Yep.
I don't know, maybe I'm too old for that, but I think it's really
No,
cool. I'm gonna learn all the TikTok dances by
no,
some point.
I'm on TikTok too. I don't do the dances though, so I like stay away deliberately from the dances. But it's hey, they got some good tunes on
It's
there,
gonna
so it
be really
works.
funny when the bars open up again and see if people bring all their TikTok dances out with them.
We're gonna know exactly who was spending all their quarantine on TikTok when you see someone break something out and you're like, oh boy, like
That's a
we're
TikTok
gonna get out of here. We're no longer we're leaving this place.
yeah.
Um, that's Yeah, I'll freely know. I've spent way too much time on TikTok in quarantine, and
It's hard
it's
not to.
it's hard not to. I'll just do it like you flip up and down. But I'm getting way off topic even for a podcast called Open Mic, doing a whole weird rant on TikTok. So we're gonna go into kind of these last five questions. We're gonna cover just a lot of like random different things, whether it's in
Okay.
golf or not. So you can go out and play with three professional celebrities, basically any other three people of your choosing. Who's going to be in that group with you when you go play, and then where are you going to go play?
Huh. I love that question. I would pick Steph Curry,
Okay.
Tiger Woods,
Yep.
and Justin Timberlake every
Wow,
time.
that's an amazing. That is an amazing group.
Yeah. Big fan. I mean, we've got good golfers in the group. I definitely want to be playing with people that are going to play pretty good, but
Yeah.
yeah, cool celebrities. And then I would probably go play Pebble Beach. It's on my bucket list, and I've never played it. I've walked it,
Okay.
and it's absolutely beautiful, and I love that part of California, so that would be it.
I think that's easily the best answer I've gotten when I've asked that question. So I think when I had my dad, he chose Tom Hanks as one of his people, and I'm like,
Really?
there
Does he
were at
play
least
golf?
well, I don't even know if he does. I'm like, you're just gonna have him out there to drive the cart, I guess. So that was by far the best answer. The next one is, what's the best shot you've ever hit in your life? It can be as a kid, as a college player, as a pro. Is there one shot where you're like that was like golf nirvana in that shot?
Oh my gosh. I had this shot. I was extremely nervous. It must have been the end of a tournament, and I don't remember the exact situation, but I remember being really nervous, and I put myself in just the worst situation. I was on like a downslope right next to a cart path, and I had maybe 4 feet of green to work with, and the pin was right
Yeah.
there. And I don't really know what came over me, but I just took a swing at it and flopped it up on the green, and I hit it to like 6 inches, and I got so excited I screamed, and my coach
Oh
was
my
like, "What is
gosh.
going on?"
That that's a hell of a shot. Holy crap. That's incredible. You're
I don't
back.
know.
You're back.
I've lost you.
No, no worries. That's why, hey, it's all live. It's part of the live TV fun.
I was like, how much of that story you got? Now I'm sad.
No, so you flopped it onto the green, and you said within like 6 inches. You stuck it within 6 inches, screamed as loud
Right.
as you can because it was such an incredible shot. And
Yeah, I was just shocked that I've actually pulled it off.
wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so far two spectacular answers. So this next one, you're on the range. What are your top three like go-to songs on the range? Like if you're hitting, what are your top three songs on your playlist?
Oh man, I have a playlist called Range Sesh, so I'll pull it up
Okay,
right now.
pull it up. This is good. This is live. I love it.
What do we got on here? Obviously, there's more than 3 songs. Let's see. Um, we got we've got Magic in the Hamptons by
Great
Social
one.
House is on there.
Great one.
Um, Come Down by Anderson Paak. That's a good one. I'll
Okay.
jam to that. What else do we have? Summer Friends by Chance the Rapper.
Great
Are
one.
these weird?
Wow.
I don't know if this is
No,
a
those are
weird
good.
playlist.
Those are good. Magic in the Hamptons is on my range playlist. So
Oh, perfect.
obviously I'm
Yeah, that's a
shanking it
great
though
range
when I'm
song.
listening to that song. I'm not hitting it like really pure like a professional. It's like in between slamming my club down. That
There
I'm
is
jamming
something to
that.
be said about playing to music, though. It definitely gets you in a rhythm.
Oh, it's the best too.
Hmm.
I'm doing that any day.
Yeah.
Okay,
So if you don't have a
so we're
driving range playlist, make one.
easily. That's a recommendation to everyone who's listening. Obviously, finish the podcast first, and then go make a driving range playlist.
Right. Work
But
on your putting while you listen to the podcast, and then go to the range and you can listen to your playlist.
that's exactly the type of publicity we need. I appreciate that. So you heard it here first from KJ, everyone. You need to putt to the podcast and then make that range playlist and then go hit some balls on the range. So I appreciate that little ad in there for this. This is great. Okay, so next question. We're out and playing, not a professional event. Like let's say you're playing 4th of July weekend. what does the snack and drink lineup look like? Are you someone who's like, I like the little frozen Reese's peanut butter cups? Are you a peanut butter and jelly person? What's the snack drink combo looking like?
I always have those Smucker's Uncrustables
Great
sandwiches in my
choice.
bag every time.
Yep.
I get the honey flavor because I don't like jelly all that much.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'll eat like 3 of those around, honestly. That's all I need. The drink combination, I don't know. I drink a lot of water if I'm trying to focus, and then I drink a lot of White Claws if I'm having a good time. It just depends on the day.
Hey, White Claw, that's like, I respect that choice. That's a great one. You know, if you're just out playing.
It's birdie juice. They should sponsor me for that.
Okay, so if anyone from White Claw is listening, go sponsor Kayla right now. And we'll do a whole line and we'll just call it Birdie Juice.
Exactly.
Birdie Juice by Kayla. So now you have 2 sponsorships now out of this. You have the podcast sponsor, and then we're working on that White Claw one for you.
It's been a productive day. Wow.
It's been a really productive day. Okay, so last question. If you were going to do any other profession that's not golf related, what would you be doing?
Wow. That's a tough one. Because right now I can't see myself doing anything but golf. I think I would stay in the sports industry for sure.
Yeah.
I had an internship in college where I did sports marketing. So I worked for like basketball and baseball and football, and I worked all the games and stuff, and that was fun. I don't know. I want to be around sports all the time. So something like that would be pretty cool.
Hey, that's a great choice.
No job. That sounds like a pretty good job. Just to be able to do whatever I want.
You can do the loophole, but like have no job, but play a lot of golf still. Then you don't technically have a job, but you're playing a lot of golf still. Okay, that's good. Okay, I want to go one more bonus one. As a New Yorker, is that what's a good under the radar spot? And because I feel like we've all seen that clip of The Office where Michael Scott goes in to grab a New York slice, and it's the Sbarro in Times Square. So is there a favorite spot in New York that it can be anything, food, dining, whatever. Is there a favorite spot that is a little under the radar maybe?
That's a good question. Obviously I'm a big pizza fan. My favorite pizza spot is not in the city. It's in Fleetwood, which is in Mount Vernon. So you have to take the train out of the city, but I promise it's worth it. It's called Joe's Fleetwood Pizza. Oh my gosh, it's the best. Other spots, I don't know. I never did any of like the big New York touristy stuff, really.
Yeah.
I never had been to like the Empire State Building or the Statue of Liberty or anything. So I guess everything I did was kind of under the radar, but I would have to think on that because I don't even know what kind of gems there are out there.
We'll have to have you on as a guest at a later one, and we'll just like do a full like New York tourism one. It'll be really random, but it'll just be like catered to anyone going to New York.
Exactly. That's the thing about New York. I mean, there's spots everywhere.
Totally.
I always say if your Chinese food restaurant is not within a block, you're living in the wrong place. You have to be able to walk to it.
Hey, more great life advice on the podcast. I'd love it. I think we've ticked off a couple of really good life advice things. So this is gonna make my job easier when I'm like putting all this out on Instagram. So I appreciate that. But other than that, I can't thank you enough for coming on. You are now a guest that we'll have on more. Now, once you've come on again, you have to come on multiple times to the podcast. So. We'll pick a topic. You're locked in. It's part of your sponsorship agreement with us, and we'll.
I'll just send you my bill.
Hey, I don't know if I can pay the bill, but just make sure you can send it for sure. Just we have to look at it and be like, I'll put it on we'll do a payment plan or something. We'll make it work. But
I'm playing. This has been awesome. Thank you.
No, thank you. And we'll have you on again sometime.
What's up, everyone? Just want to wrap up the show real quick. Thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate you guys, as always, being along on the journey with us. I'm incredibly grateful for everyone who's listening. If you have any feedback, feel free to DM me on Instagram, anything like that. Leave something in the comments, whatever. But really, like I said, grateful to have you guys along for the journey. You guys are the best. And stay tuned for another episode. We're going to keep trying to bring in more awesome guests, and we'll see you guys later.